Inspiration.
I can do anything.
Education.
Let's do this.
And application.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
Welcome to Like It Matters Radio. Keeping us out of the water hazard with some truth therapy and teeing up solutions for today's big issues. Here's your life caddy, Mr. Scott V. Black.
So welcome to the world of Mr. Black.
Have you ever wondered, what value does human life have? Have you ever wondered what a life is worth? Have you ever thought about what a marriage is worth? What the innocence of a child is worth? You know, we have a tendency to value things in retrospect. You know, Irma Bombeck years ago wrote a book, I think it was The Grass is Always Greener. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. You know, what we have now is not as good as what we could have. I deserve better. How about this one? It ain't fair. It ain't fair, ... It ain't fair, ... We're so busy getting through things. We're so busy with our nose to the grindstone. We're so busy making money so that we can take money we don't have to buy things we don't need to keep up with people we don't like. We're busy about all kinds of things, but here's the problem. Planes crash and people die. It's a fact of life. Today on Like It Matters Radio, I'm going to talk about death. There's an old saying, you know, there are two great equalizers in life. We all have to pay taxes and we all have to die. So based on this logic, part of life is figuring out those two things into this equation called your life, called my life. You know, there's a good book out there, and it says it's appointed for man to die one time, then comes the judgment. You know, whether you believe in a holy, personal God or not, judgment comes after death, whether by God and or by man. What do you think our eulogy is? What do you think the feelings of our family is? What do you think those words, hey, you had so much potential. Man, it could have been so much different. Man, if he would have only done this. Man, if she would have only let go of this. Man, if she could have just gotten over this. Judgment comes after death, whether by God and or by man. Let's be honest. In the last week, I got to tell you, this is why we're where we're at on this radio show. I've experienced some death around me. We're going to talk about that today. And it really moved me. It moved me to consider the value of life, the value of this time, because I'm coming out of my own desert. For those that know me, I'm a transparent dude. I'm not looking to be your God. I got one. I'm not yours. I'm not mine either. I might play little G God in my leadership training at likeitmatters.net, but that's the only place I even get close to a little G in the God. There's been a lot of death around me, and today it really made me think it is one of the truths of life. Unless you're Enoch, unless you're Elijah, those are the only two I know that haven't succumbed to the sting of death. And Paul did say that some shall not die, because those that are here during the rapture will be taken away, quickened, and transformed in the sky. But for the rest of us, we got some work to do. For the rest of us, God's telling us right now we're not finished yet. But we need to talk about this today, because it is appointed for man to die one time, and then comes death. And we are judged. People are going to talk about us. And today I want to talk about two special people. Two special people that I had the chance to, one of them, get to know, but both of them talk to. And one thing I've learned doing my leadership training, that people struggle. Now, a lot of people put on their airs. A lot of people pretend everything's okay. A lot of people live in denial. A lot of people are dissociated. A lot of people are self-medicated. So I get all that. I've walked intimately with over 15,000 people in 2.5 day stints, where after that 2.5 days, we swear we've known each other for 30 years. I have a pretty big pool to choose from. We're going to talk about a friend, a graduate, Tatiana Omanovich. She was a member of Team 28. She went through my training in Vegas, Las Vegas, September of 2021. She's a powerful woman. She also staffed a couple months later for Team 230 in Vegas, December of 2021. Tatiana was born in Germany and grew up in Serbia while it was still part of Yugoslavia. Life under communism was hard and made her harder by the specter of looming civil war. Overcoming repeated rejections, she immigrated to America at age 15, enlisted in the Marine Corps, and retired after 20 years of service to her adopted home. She settled down in Carlsbad, California to raise 4 sons and inspire greatness in others. Tatiana's continuing education was focused on psychology and the human mind. Her greatest joys were found in learning, teaching, inspiring others to be their best selves. As an unconventional business coach, Tatiana used her unique skills to quickly recalibrate and jumpstart both individuals in their personal affairs and entrepreneurs in their business efforts. She was a friend. You know what I learned about Tatiana is Tatiana had a lot of pain like Scott Black, like most people do. And Tatiana dealt with some of that pain, but there was still a lot of new pain and a lot of old pain that was never dealt with. And she's my friend, my sister, just like me. This is the thing, we're all under construction. Yesterday I talked to a man in Northern California referred by good customers, Iron Mechanical. See, Iron Mechanical knows the value of people. Iron Mechanical invests in their people. Iron Mechanical is not bogged down by profit margins and the cycle of the economy. They value faith. They believe that their company is family. The people that work at Iron Mechanical are part of a family. And so even though money's tight, even though economies go up and economies go down, people are sent. Why? Because they know that it's about people. The greatest asset for any team is the hearts and minds of their people. Tatiana knew that. And Tatiana believed in people. She didn't worry about her own pain. And Tatiana had some struggle with her mom. Her mom was still in Serbia. Her mom was dying and going through some stuff, and she wanted to help her. And I remember when the last times I talked to Tatiana, she was frustrated. She was sad, and she knows a lot of people in Beverly Hills. I met her at a retreat, a networking retreat. That's where I met her, connected with her right away. And when she was in need, there was no one there to help her. When she had to raise money to help her mom, she had a few people, someone like Dominique, Kiana. We gave her what we could, but man, she was stunned that the lack of people that said they loved her. There's a gentleman that was supposed to be in my class, supposed to be in class last weekend. I was supposed to have class. I had to reschedule. His name was Miles Swain. Miles Swain is referred by one of my graduates, a friend. Miles has been struggling. Miles took over and is helping run a new company they started. But Miles struggled with depression. Miles didn't believe in himself. Miles has struggled all his life with abusive family, a bad situation. And this young man who had so much potential didn't want to live anymore. I told him just to keep hope, journal. I gave him my number. We talked, said, help is on the way, what you've been praying about. I had to reschedule that class. And on Saturday night, when we should have been graduating with Miles as one of our team members, Miles killed himself. Miles took his life. And I've been struggling the last 2 days. Because like David with Bathsheba, David wasn't supposed to be on the top of the palace roof. He was supposed to be in battle. I was supposed to be in class, and so was Miles. I was in class, and Miles is no longer here. Today on Like It Matters Radio, we're talking about it's appointed for man. Don't go anywhere. This message could change a life. Yours. We'll be right back.
It's not a one-time event that you get something out of and then you go home. This is an application that I've been using and I will use for the rest of my life. Hey, this is Brett from Sacramento. I'm a recent graduate of Leadership Awakening. I've taken leadership courses from the military and work, and I've been on self-help journeys my whole life, but Scott Black's Leadership Awakening course is so different than anything I've ever taken or seen, and we all have the same kind of needs. I learned how to prioritize what was important in my life through leadership. Scott chops everything into bite-sized pieces so it's easily digestible. The gift that I got out of that course was something that will be with me for the rest of my life. Everybody needs this. It is life-changing.
To learn when you can attend the next Leadership Awakening class in Minneapolis, go to likeitmatters.net. That's likeitmatters.net.
Wake up with the Freedom 1570 Daybreak Insider. Today's top news stories from a conservative viewpoint in a detailed yet concise manner. Sign up at freedom1570.com. Just use the keyword subscribe.
Come and take a tour of the shores of Lake Phelan, assisted living and memory care. With our gorgeous lake views and spacious apartments, you experience resort-style living in a park-like setting. Our care team is in the building 24/7, and we have great food and engaging activities. The Shores of Lake Phelan is excellence in senior living every day. Located between Lake Keller and Lake Phelan. Visit theshoresoflakephelan.com. That's theshoresoflakephelan.com.
Are you about to sign an order for siding, roofing, or windows, but you're worried that the price is too high? Keep them honest by contacting me at getmy3quotes.com, and I'll email competitive quotes your way. That's the number 3, getmy3quotes.com.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-890-5049. 800-890-5049. 800-890-5049. That's 800-890-5049. Paid for by Term Direct.
Welcome back to Like It Matters Radio. Radio, like it matters. Inspiration, education, and application. As a leadership trainer, I can tell you that when you change your position, you change your perspective. It's appointed for man to die one time, and then comes the judgment. Planes crash and people die. It's a fact of life. I know of a man who stood to speak at a gathering of family and friends. He spoke of a friend no longer here, not long ago had been. In a box at the front of the room, his friend does lay his final bed. Tears flowing, speaking words of wisdom. And this is what he said. There's the date of our birth and the day that we die. The space between our dash of life does lie. The way that we live on this earth, this becomes our dash. When you live your life like it matters not the cars, the house, the cash. Think about this. Are there things you'd like to change? The time is now. You could be at the end or mid-dash range. You can't control the length of your dash. This is for God to divine. The width, intensity, this is yours. No butt prints in the sands of time. What will you do today? Every day's like a ticking clock. How did you spend your time before your time in the box? When your eulogy is written, life's actions rehashed, it's okay to be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash. It is appointed for man to die one time, and then comes the judgment. Life is hard. I walk in people's pain. I create an environment for people to be real. People are walking away from life. People are helpless and hopeless. People are confused. I got this article yesterday. Canadian principal suicide after alleged bullying for his whiteness in CRT training sparks investigation. He was told by a black leader of the DEI, CRT training, you in your whiteness think that you can tell me what's really going on for black people? A Toronto high school and an education minister announced they are launching investigations Thursday into professional development training after a former principal died by suicide following a lawsuit in which he alleged emotional distress from anti-racist trainings and the fallout that followed. Before his death, Richard Bilkso, a 60-year-old former principal, sued the Toronto District School District for school board for emotional distress after he attended a DEI training where he was accused of being a racist solely because he was white. Bilkso alleged in his lawsuit that Kiki Ojo Thompson, who runs an equity firm called Kojo, K-O-J-O Institute, said that Canada was racist and has never reckoned with his anti-black history. When Bilkso disagreed with the instructor and challenged her comments, he was condemned for appearing to undermine a black woman. How dare a white man challenge a black woman? People, wake up. This 60-year-old man, father, grandfather, took his own life because his life was ruined. And what was his crime? He was white. Now, if I said he was black and his life was ruined, you'd be shocked. If I said he was LGBTQ and his life was ruined, you'd be shocked. If I told you he was homosexual and his life was being ruined, you're shocked. But the fact that he's white and his life was ruined has no value at all. See, here's the thing. We go through life and there's pain. This life is unfair. This life is hard, and really one of the keys to life, I've walked intimately with tens of thousands of people, is what do we do with pain? See, it can make us bitter or better. This is why it's so important. This is why my standard is the Word of God. You don't need to do that. I was talking to a guy yesterday in California. He's going to be going through our training, I hope. And he really had a great conversation. At the very end, he got really asked me about the God. Once he started talking about, why do you bring up God? I'm atheist. And he really was angry. I could feel the anger. I'm like, whoa. And I said, because we're a three-part being. We have a body that's a machine, just like your Bobcat on the job site is a machine. You got to know how to run the machine. But the mind runs the machine. And so you got to realize the battle's in the mind. And you're not the body. And you're not the brain, but you are the spirit that occupies that body. It's called a soul, and moves that brain. It's called a mind. And so the spirit component is you. It's not about whether you believe in a holy personal God. Even people in NLP who don't have a place for God, because NLP is all about quantification and the logical levels. For the longest time, Robert had only 5 levels. At the bottom was environment. Above that is behavior. Above that is capabilities. Above that is belief systems. Above that is identity. And right there it stopped. But here's the problem with the logical levels. Like Einstein said, you can never solve a problem at the same level it was created at. And so in the logical levels, change takes place from the top down, not from the bottom up. And it's a lot harder to change the things at the top than at the bottom. But you can never solve a problem at the same level as created at. So if I have a problem with my belief system, the level above belief system is identity. I am. And so in order to deal with my belief systems, I must go to the level above it, my identity. When I deal with the belief systems in my identity, it will affect the belief systems in my belief systems, which will affect my capabilities, which will affect my behavior, which will affect my environment, both physical and mental. And for the longest time, because NLP didn't believe in a personal God. But there had to be something above man, because a man is the problem, and man is always the problem. You must go to something above man to deal with the issue of man. That's the logical levels. Look it up, Dr. Robert Dilts, based on Gregory Bateson's work in the ecology of mind. And so Dr. Dilts, who I don't believe believes in a personal God, I don't believe he's a Christian, I don't believe he believes in the Bible. He said there's got to be a level above man, and that level is called spirit. And that could mean you're a bigger connection to the universe. For some of us, we know it's a God called Yahweh. Adonai, El Shaddai, El Elyon. I call him Abba, Daddy. Daddy, whatever you're about today, I want to be a part of it. See, you got to figure out what to do with this thing called pain, because just like paying taxes, just like death, one thing you're going to experience in this thing called life is pain. And really what matters is, what do we do with this thing called pain? And I'm going to tell you right now, this affects my belief system. I share this because the belief system, remember, you either have, there's only two operating systems, a GOS, God operating system, or an FOS, flesh operating system. And I'm not here to judge you. You have to make your own choices. Why? Because we all stand alone before God. And it is appointed for man to die one time, then comes the judgment. And based on that judgment, you'll find out if there's a second death. And the second death is nothing more than eternity separate from God. And God's saying, listen, you spent your life apart from God, and you chose that, and you took your last breath apart from God. So I will give you what you desire, and I will give you an eternity away from me. God is giving you what you asked for. He's not going to force himself on you. You don't believe in him, so he doesn't believe in you. That's all. No big deal, right? And if he's not real, what does it matter, right? But what if he is? See, my FOS is gone. It was replaced by GOS. And I know that God never allows pain without purpose, because he's a good father. I let my kids struggle sometimes. How else are they going to learn? Did you know that an oyster that has not been wounded in any way does not produce pearls? See, think about this. A pearl is a healed wound. It has great value. Pearls are a product of pain, the result of a foreign or unwanted substance entering the oyster, such as a parasite or a grain of sand. The inside of an oyster shell is a shiny substance called nacre, N-A-C-R-E. When a grain of sand enters, the nacre cells go to work and cover the grain to smooth over the irritation. They cover the grain of sand with layers and more layers to protect the defenseless body from the pain of the gravel. As a result, a beautiful pearl is formed. And you know this, right? The more pearls, the more valuable. It's a widely accepted truism that failure is a better teacher than success. We're all familiar with the inspiring tales of people who failed again and again, but built upon the lessons learned from that failure to achieve their long-sought goal eventually. That's the key. You fail forward. That's what Romans 8:28 says. That God causes all things to work for the good for those who love him, are called according to his purpose. God never allows pain without purpose. Dr. Caroline Leaf shared this term, kintsugi. Kintsugi. It's called golden joinery. And it refers to the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery by mending the areas of breakage with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. She goes on to say, as a philosophy, it treats breakage and repair as part of the history of an object rather than something to disguise. See, John MacArthur says this: you can exercise and sustain personal leadership only to the extent of your capacity to bear pain. If you can't bear your own pain, then you can't really lead. If you can only respond to and bear only the pain of your family, then your family represents the full scope of your leadership potential. Listen carefully. If, however, by God's grace, you can recognize and bear the pain of those around you, then the breadth of your leadership potential is limited only by the scope of your burden and capacity. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said this way: believe me, every man has a secret sorrow, which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he's only sad. And C.S. Lewis said, getting over a painful experience is much like crossing monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. And today, I'm recognizing the loss of my sister, Tatiana Omanovich, and my future brother, I thought, Miles Swain. Today, we're talking about death and the opportunity to live your life like it matters, because death will come a-calling at some point. I'm Black. We'll be right back.
You're a work in progress.
A little more.
Constantly under construction.
That's good.
To build your productive life, You need the right tools from Mr. Black and Like It Matters Radio. A good golfer has a great caddy who shares the load and understands the course. Hire Mr. Black as your life caddy to live more fulfilling and successfully. If you want to get to the next level and beyond, both personally and professionally, sign up for Mr. Black's immersive Leadership Awakening class. It's the most powerful, transformational 2 days you will ever experience. Stay in touch with Mr. Black and the change connected to him on your schedule with his daily podcast. Search Living Like It Matters wherever you get your podcasts. Walk along with Mr. Black as he goes to God's instruction manual. It's manna from the Word of God with Mr. Black's Bible teaching at wayofwarrior.blog. Build yourself up like it matters and get everything God has for you. Go to likeitmatters.net. That's likeitmatters.net.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA. The only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-504-1123. 800-504-1123. 800-504-1123. That's 800-504-1123.
George Orwell's book 1984 was supposed to be fiction, not a roadmap. He understood the importance of this mindset when he said, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Today, more than ever, our classrooms have become a place of conformity and not liberty. Join Rebecca Hagstrom and Abigail Johnson as they lead the conversation about what's required to take steps forward in putting these liberties back in our classrooms and our country. Education America tackles the biggest issues around education, including critical race theory, racial equity, school choice, and so much more. Tune into Education America. Save the classroom, save the country. Saturday evenings at 6 on AM 1280 The Patriot. Saving the classroom starts with being informed and being ready to stand up. Join Rebecca and Abigail Saturdays at 6 p.m. on AM 1280 The Patriot.
Welcome back to Like It Matters Radio. Radio, like it matters. Inspiration, education, and application. Today, we're talking about life. You know, you can say we're talking about death, but no, it's just, part of life is death. It's appointed a man to die at one time, and then comes the judgment. Every day we're born, every day we live, we're one day closer to death. For the first day we're alive, our body, even though it's grown, there's certain things that are moving towards conclusion. We're one day closer to death. It's like today, every day we live, we're close of the dispensation. It's just the reality of it. We're closer to the end than we ever were, even though we could be a millennial away or an hour away. But we're closer than we've ever been. And the sad part is that there's a lot of pain in this world, a lot of hurt, depression, suicide, PTSD, all going through the roof. Rising cycling star Magnus White dead at 17 after incident while training. Magnus White, a 17-year-old American cyclist who was training in Colorado ahead of the upcoming World Championship in Scotland, was struck by a vehicle and died near his home over the weekend. Do you know most accidents happen within like 3 miles or something like that of our home? And so here's this 17-year-old kid. He was incredible, on the rise, a multidisciplinary star in the sport, won junior national championships on the national team. Euphoria star Angus Cloud dead at 25, an incredible human being. Euphoria actor Angus Cloud has died, his family said. He was 25. It is with the heaviest heart that we had to say goodbye to an incredible human day, the actor's family said. Last week he buried his father and intensely struggled with the loss. So you know how Agnes joined his father in the afterlife. He took his life. At likeitmatters.net, I've been doing what I do for 31 years. at least 1,000 times, I have had testimony that says something like this. Boy, I was going to take my life. Boy, I had bought a gun. I had a bullet in it. Boy, I have attempted a couple times. I chicken out. I've heard that 1,000 times and said, now after your training, I'm going to live my life like it matters. Why do I say that? Because I beg, I plead, I beg for people to refer people. I offer the class for free. I give it away. Why? Because it's not a business. These are people, hearts and minds of people, living, breathing human beings who have fears and doubts, who have trauma and drama, who have hurt and pain, who want to love and be loved, who want to know they matter, who want to know they're special, who want to know that all the crap they've been through has value, has purpose, has a reason. And in this lost, confused world, you got a question to ask yourself. Two of them. If not you, then who? Question number two. If not now, then when? I was supposed to be in class July 27th through 9th. Miles Swain was supposed to be in class July 27th through 29th. For many reasons, which I'm not going to share right now, I had to reschedule that class. Saturday night, when we should have been graduating, Miles Swain graduating as a member of that team, hopeful about life, excited about new beginnings, born again. When he should have been experiencing that, he took his life. And he won't be in class September 21st or August 17th like he was supposed to be because he's no longer here. And so I want to bring on the show with you someone who went through my class not too long ago. Is one of those 1,000 people who told me I was going to leave. I didn't want to be here anymore, and it was your training. And this is not a sales pitch. This is a wake-up call because people need people who care. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's welcome Brian to Like It Matters Radio. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, Mr. Black. How are you today?
You know, I'm processing a lot. You know I have a big God. I know it's not my fault that Miles isn't here, but I also know that God's got a message for me here. And it's time to step it up. I should have been in class. I talked before about David, King David. A lot of people don't know the Bible like I do. And again, Brian, what I do is not a religious thing. You know that. I talk about God because I love God. But this is not a religious training. But King David was on his rooftop when he should have been in battle. And because King David was bored and he wasn't where he was supposed to be, he saw beautiful Bathsheba naked taking a bath, and he had to have her. And the rest of the story is history, his story. And you have something similar, right? I mean, you grew up in a good church home, right? Dad, your family is ministers. You work for a great freaking company, Iron Mechanical. Iron Mechanical believed enough in you. $2,500 my classes. They could be buying a new boat for the Rissies. They could be buying a new piece of equipment. Instead, they're investing in people. You, Brian, all those other friends that got you to my class. Tell us a little bit about your story, just a little bit of the struggle, if you don't mind, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, of course. I was brought up in the church, very good Christian family, kind, loving parents. Really no gripes about my childhood. I just never really had the tangible connection. My siblings had expressed, hearing God talk to them or move in them. And throughout my childhood and experiences in the church with my dad working for the church, it kind of pushed me away seeing church people not act as they should towards my father,
Amen.
So
Amen.
that kind of slowly pushed me and kind of gave me a sour taste in my mouth for the whole experience, which, then in turn kind of pushed me away from the spirituality and God.
Yep.
And then through my later teen years in my 20s, I kind of got into a group of friends and started sort of the party scene, recreational drug use for concerts or what have you.
Yep.
And I always had a self-esteem problem. I don't know if it runs in the family or what, but I was never really confident, always down on myself. And the drug use, I think I always knew was wrong. And I was never an addict living on the streets or anything. I made my mortgage payments, et cetera. But that kind of was a tool, I think, from the devil, to put it bluntly, that really pushed me further and further away because I hated myself for it as much as I tried to ignore that. It was just made the self-esteem so much worse, pushed me further away, and really brought me down to a dark place of really not feeling anything. I thought I had.
Yep.
Really physically ruined my brain chemically was what it came down to. And I was just, I felt nothing. And it was weird. It's not even really sadness. It's just complete blankness of like, what am I doing here? Why am I around? I have no purpose whatsoever. So that's kind of the short history.
And and you had said that a couple times you had thought about suicide. You had planned on it. Is that true or?
Yes. Yeah. I never got to the point of attempting, but I was like, well, maybe, when I'm driving to this job site in the middle of nowhere, if I crash off a cliff, I started having those kind of thoughts, which I guess it's kind of a generic thing, but it's very intrusive thoughts where, like, you don't know where they come from, but now it seems clear where they come from.
Yep.
And
it was precursor. Those thoughts are a precursor. As you listen to it more and more and more, all it takes is the straw that broke the camel's back. See, once you start entertaining them, remember how the RAS works. Once you start entertaining them and now understanding that energy follows thought, so our photons, as we think about something, these photons create energy. It's kind of like it sounds so new age. I hate that they took the word energy. It makes me mad because, but it's true. You can actually, it's scientific now. You can register it. You can track it. You can measure it. So it's not. And this is what God says. And so when we think about those things, it actually it's true. I know it sounds weird. I know. I'm learning, and it sounds weird to me, but it's true. The virgin birth sounds. The virgin birth sounds pretty weird to me too. The rapture sounds pretty weird. What do you mean I'm going to float in the sky and meet Jesus in the clouds? What? And you know what, dude? I believe every word of it. I believe every word of it. So let me ask you, what changed? Again, I want to give kudos to Terry Rissy and Jed Rissy, Iron Mechanical. The economy goes up and down, but look at the money that Iron Mechanical spends on you guys, sends you, because they believe you're their greatest asset. What impact did them sending you to Leadership Awakening have on your life, if you don't mind me asking?
Without exaggeration, it was a 180. It was the complete turnaround. My good friends and coworkers, Aaron and Scott, kind of forced me to go because it was something that I didn't want to do at all. And in forcing me to go, they wanted me to do it. They were pushing me, so I trusted them, and I forced myself to stay put and go through it. And it's a complete, tangible, real-life connection that I've never had before. And it completely changed my life. I feel like a different person. I feel like I felt when I was a kid.
Yep. You have hope, right? You have hope.
Yes. Yep. I have purpose.
Yep. And you have power. See, that's the thing. You now realize, let's be honest, Brian, your life changed while you were gone. Your wife, your sister, all that was the same, but what changed was you. What changed was your perception. What changed was your belief systems. What changed was how you walked. What changed was how you breathed. What changed was how you thought. Is any of that I just said untrue at all?
No, of course not. It's absolutely true. It's a beautiful thing. I've been harping on other coworkers, my wife, my sister, trying to get people to go.
Yeah, because it saves lives. Yeah, it's real. Yeah. Well, that's what hit me about Miles. And what really hit me, and again, there's no blame here when I bring this up. The guy who was going to send him, you send him an invoice, talk to Miles. He was excited, told him, hold on. And then the guy who was going to send him said, oh, $2,500. Well, wow, we didn't want to spend that, and my wife didn't want to spend that, so let me wait. And so then it fell apart. And again, they were still going to send him and all that. Nothing happened, but I believe that they were going to. So, but it came down to money. Oh, geez, that's too much money. And then I started asking myself this question: what's a life worth? How's your marriage? Yeah, your marriage is better today because you're better today, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, my relationship with my two little sons is improved 100-fold.
Because you've improved 100-fold. I'm proud of you, brother. You and I are walking together. Give my best to Jed Rissy and Terry Rissy, Iron Mechanical. Great company you have. God bless you, my friend. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. And I will be back, and you better be, because I'm going to close this off with some real power. Talk to you soon. If you're confused, lost, lonely, or feel like you're living in a foreign land, you are not alone. This is Scott B. Black, host of Like It Matters Radio. It's this crisis that created Like It Matters Radio in 2015. God charged me to bring hope to the airwaves by bringing clarity to the confusion and to help guide people to function at a higher level. We bring truth therapy, and we need your help. Like It Matters Radio is now available to radio stations across this country. We need Like It Matters Radio in all 50 states, and here's what you can do to help. Please call the program manager of your local radio station. Ask them to add Like It Matters Radio to their schedule. It doesn't cost them anything and will add value to their station lineup. If you have questions, you can email me at mrblack@likeitmattersradio.com. Our nation needs to hear this message because our beloved country is rapidly deteriorating and freedom is continually being quenched. Call your local radio station today and ask them to add Like It Matters Radio. Together, we can help others live their lives like it matters.
From South St. Paul to Southeast Asia and Little Canada to regular-sized Canada, we're where you are. Listen to Freedom 1570 anytime, anywhere at Odyssey.com or with the free Odyssey app.
Summer means road construction in Minnesota. If you're behind the wheel, work zone safety is part of your job too. Slow down in work zones. Remember, slower speeds save lives. Put away distractions and keep your eyes focused on the road. Move over when you can to give crews more room to work. When we all work together, everyone gets home safely. This message brought to you by the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the Minnesota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. BearingArms.com covers Second Amendment issues, self-defense, the latest gear, and more. That's BearingArms.com.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Deutsch, and if you or your business owe money to the IRS, I've got great news for you. Tax laws have changed. Billions of dollars are earmarked for IRS Fresh Start programs, and if you qualify, you can literally save tens of thousands of dollars. Listen, I know what you're going through. Call me if you want to speak with a tax attorney or tax professional for free.
800-246-1687. 800-246-1687.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-210-7907. 800-210-7907. 800-210-7907. That's 800-210-7907.
Welcome back to Like It Matters Radio. Radio, like it matters, inspiration, education, application. You don't know when someone's ready to walk away. Most people that take their life don't actually say anything. But I'm telling you, what I do is real. It's not some business. You go to likeitmatters.net. Some of you have listened to me for years and never think about going through. Some of you have been through my training, it changed your life, and never think about referring anybody. And, you know, it says in the Bible that you could have been entertaining angels from on high and didn't even know it. You know, one thing that people get from my training, it's called sensory acuity. They become aware of being unaware. We have eyes to see but do not see. We have ears to hear but do not hear. You know, most people are deaf, numb, and blind. Deaf, numb, and blind. Most people are looking around at things and at people, but they're so busy judging people they can't see them. You know, to see or look and see how you want to, you know, one of them's a biological act. Another's an act of volition. The ability to see is a medical ability, right? Helen Keller did not have the gift of sight. But to really look is deeper. Jesus said, you've heard it said that if you do not commit adultery, but I say if you look at a woman with lust in your eyes, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. See, he took it from below the surface to the heart. Right now, you're all hearing me. You have the gift of hearing. Your tympanic membrane's vibrating and translating my signals that are coming from my mouth into words into your head. But a lot of people don't listen. We're too busy talking to ourselves. We're too distracted. We're too busy judging. Yeah, we can hear, but we don't listen. And then we disrespect people. We tell them they don't have value. We discount them. And then they think, well, no one ever values. No one discounts. I'm just going to end my life like anybody would really even notice. And right now, you're all probably touching something, maybe a steering wheel, maybe a pen, maybe wiping your eyes, maybe a tissue. But let's be honest, a lot of people stopped feeling a long time ago. Like Brian said, it became numb. Life's an undulating line. I went numb. About 12 years ago, I shut down. Now, my comfort zone's bigger than most people. But yet, I just realized over the last 5 weeks, God said, you took your ball and went home, dude. All the struggles, begging people to help me. I don't charge people if they don't have money. I don't let money be a reason. And people tell me they love me, and then I need help, and very few help. And so it gets frustrating. So I didn't realize I had shut down, just like Brian had said, just because my comfort zone's bigger. We're all human beings. We all are living, breathing human beings. We all have struggles. We all want to love and be loved. We all want to know we matter. We all want to know we're special. We want to provide for our family. We want safety and security. We live in a world that's focused on how different we are. That's live from the pit of hell. Behind me, Satan. It's a bait of Satan. We have something like 30 billion genetic pairings that make up all of our qualities. And 98.9, almost 99% is identical. We all come from the same God goo. So 1/10 of 1% is still about 3 million pairs. All of our difference are in those 3 million pairs. There is one human race. Stop with the race war. Skin color is nothing more than a genetic marker. The shape of our eyes, nothing more than a genetic marker. Stop separating people out based on a couple genetics, a couple genes. You got to realize that planes crash and people die. These are the articles I get. Today's the day I marked 4 years since the worst betrayal of my life. I threw my joke of a husband a birthday party, and after everyone went home, I caught him making out with our friend's 21-year-old daughter in my yard. Over the next few weeks, I learned that not only was her baby his, but he had a son on the way from a different chick, all while sleeping with my, quote, friend, Amber. As if that weren't bad enough, our kitchen, dining, living room were demolished to the studs for a remodel we planned together. We had just bought new vehicles, designed and ordered our dream fish house, plus taken on remodeling debt, all of which he deceitfully led me into. After throwing him out and catching my first assault charge, I struggled to find my way back. I was forced into bankruptcy after working so hard at fixing my credit, but I had allowed my blind faith, trust in him to get me so buried in debt, that was my only option. With a ton of support, I made the biggest comeback of my life. One day at a time, I worked on projects. I learned how to remodel with a ton of help that I will always appreciate. I flipped every room in my house and made it my home. I did landscaping projects, fixed my fence, and built my dream deck and pool. And when my employer was purchased by a large corporation, I made a huge career move that changed my life. I'm only typing this book to give strength and motivation to anyone who's struggling or has been abused, betrayed by a person they love. What do you do with pain? We all have a story. We need someone who cares. What are you investing your time in? I shared Brian came on a great company called Iron Mechanical who believes that people are more important than budgets, who believe that the greatest asset of their team is their hearts and minds of their people. Descore Builders in Northern California the same way, believes in that. Molded Fiberglass Group out of Ashley, North Carolina believes the same way. Mike Taylor with his companies believes the same way. Brett Wassel believes the same way. Mike Rhodes at Ecotint in Las Vegas believes the same way. These are people who invest in their people. These are people that don't focus on the bottom line. These are people that believe their greatest asset is their hearts and minds of their people. And for those of you out there, for Owen, Tatiana's partner, to Zane, a guy who wanted to do everything he can to help Miles, I want to share with you a quote by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a man who knows suffering. He said, "There is nothing that can replace the absence of someone dear to us, and one should not even attempt to do so. One must simply hold out and endure it. At first, that sounds very hard, but at the same time, it's also a great comfort. For to the extent the emptiness truly remains unfulfilled, one remains connected to the other person through it. it is wrong to say that God fills the emptiness. God in no way fills it, but much more leaves it precisely unfulfilled, and thus helps us preserve, even in pain, the authentic relationship. Furthermore, the more beautiful and full the remembrances, the more difficult the separation. But gratitude transforms the torment of memory into silent joy. One bears what was lovely in the past, not as a thorn, but as a precious gift deep within. A hidden treasure, which one can always be certain. What to do with the pain? You can make you bitter or better. You know, Jason, if you're listening in Sacramento, talk to Jason, great guy, already in the process of being under construction and afraid of that God thing, doesn't want to go to a religious experience. It's not a religious process. But I did tell him, and he needs to, anything in our life that's fear-driven, anything in our life that has anger or bitterness, we've got to deal with it, people. See, what happened with me is I allowed all this disappointment, all this anger, all this letdown, people who love me and then won't return a phone call, people who let economies pull people out of class when I know people's lives are on the link, like Miles. Here's a guy, Miles, that was so close to getting it fixed. I know if I could have got him in class, his life would have been different. I know if he could have been there that things would have changed. But what kept him out of there is people valuing life the way they do. I never let money be a reason why I help someone. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to go to buy training, I'll go to training. If I got to eat the cost, I'll eat it. Go to likeitmatters.net. I allow payments. We got 501c3 that people donate to. Man, if you're struggling, we all got hurt. We all got pain. It doesn't matter what happens to us. What matters is how we store it. We don't respond to what happens. We respond to our narrative about what happens. Remember, in transactional analysis, Dr. Eric Burns said a transaction, communication, is a stimulus and a response. But here's the thing. Our brain is 6 times faster than we can talk. And so what happens after someone says something or does something, we go to what we know. We go to our pound of flesh. We go to the record wrong. We go to our past, the pain, whatever you've done with that. And if there's bitterness, hurt, pain, that's what you're going to bring. And then what you respond to is not the stimulus, but you respond to your narrative about the stimulus. Let me help you give you back your power. It was Viktor Frankl who said between the stimulus and the response, there's a space. And in that space is your power and your freedom. What happens with depression is it's helpless and hopeless. People aren't engaging with the self-talk. Cognitive behavioral therapy says you grab a hold of your thoughts, hold them captive. Those that are good, keep them. Those that are destroying, get rid of them. I can help you. I can help you move beyond. Go to likeitmatters.net. August 17th through 19th, we got a class in Vegas. Could save your life, save your marriage, save your soul. September 21 through 23, we're in Dallas-Fort Worth. Go to likeitmatters.net. I'm here so that you can live the life that you desire, like it matters, because it does. I'm Mr. Black, reminding you, when you live your life like it matters, it does.
Come to the Gun and Knife Show Saturday, August 5th and Sunday, August 6th in Anoka. Buy, sell, and trade new and used antique and modern firearms. Gun and Knife Show at the Anoka Ice Arena on North 7th Avenue in Anoka. Details at crocodileproductionsinc.com.
16 years migraine-free, no medications. Hey, it's Dr. Kim Tran, host of Health is Wealth, Sundays at 10 a.m. on Freedom 1570. Chiropractic changed my life, so I quit my corporate job to help people transform their health and their lives. If you've tried everything with no results, tune into Health is Wealth to learn how to get and stay healthy.
Sundays at 10 a.m. or catch the Health is Wealth podcast anytime on freedom1570.com.
With the vast majority of media today leaning hard left, it can be tricky to find news that actually shares, let alone defends, a conservative viewpoint. HotAir.com provides analysis and commentary from conservative writers like Ed Morrissey. HotAir.com.
Ringing. Set summer in motion with the most adventurous Honda vehicles yet, like the Passport and Pilot Trail Sport, and the Ridgeline, built for better off-road performance and engineered for more adventure. Summer's here. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.9% APR on a 2023 Honda Pilot, a 2.9% APR on a 2023 Passport, and a 0.9% APR on a 2023 Ridgeline.
Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details.